Hey guys, in this video I'm going to do an analysis of Dobby the House Elf by John Williams from the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets soundtrack. We're going to look at the motives, the overall shape of the melody and how it's constructed, and the harmony. So let's get into it. So to start with, let's listen through it one time to hear what we're actually analyzing. So the first thing you may notice is we have these 4 quarter notes and then a whole note rest. Some people might actually say that it's a 1-bar idea followed by a rest, but I think it's better to think of it as a 2-bar idea. The rest is part of the construction there. It starts with this D, F, rising third in quarter notes, and that's going to be this central motive that we see happen throughout the rest of the theme. That short motive going up gets answered by a short motive going back down. So we start with D, F, and now we come back down, G flat, E. It looks like a third in the notation, but it's a second. That idea gets repeated with a small variation. This time, he pushes it ahead even further. So we reached the G flat before, we're gonna go all the way up to a B flat, but notice that the shape is still the same. We reach up, we come back down. That up-down pattern is going to happen several times. So we went up, this time we'll go notice that even though we went up to a new high point, we still came back down to that same D that we started at. So we've never really left this as home, and we'll talk about that more when we talk about the sentence form. Bar 5 starts again with the rising third. It's just down a step. This part is a descending third with a decoration. Really it's, but that little D gets thrown in. Finally we have what's probably the most interesting part of the melody. Although bar 6 feels like new material, if we look at bars 3 and 4, we can see that this high note leaping down and then a smaller leap down is already there. So before we had, and now we have, the shape stays the same. So even though it might seem new, it's actually not new at all. Then we get followed up once more, bar 7, with that up-down pattern again. Doing the same thing in bar 5, that G, if we did without it, it would be even closer to bar 1. Going up, coming back down. So you can see in bars 1, 3, 5, and 7, we have that going up, coming back down. And finally. So even though the pitches move around, it stays very true to that overall shape 4 times in only an 8-bar theme. I think motivically how this really suits the character of Dobby is that it starts out very timid. And then we have that rest. It's as if he's like coming to say something and can't quite get it out. He's nervous, gets a little more bold, but not quite there until bar 5 when he's finally able to move forward, get through with what he needs. So next let's look at the harmony. There is a tendency for students in particular to try to name every single chord. They'll look at a piece and say, what the heck is this chord? We're in B flat, but it's F sharp minor 7. What is going on? And I think it's really important to understand that there's a thing called non-functional harmony. You don't have to give it a Roman numeral for a chord to be allowed in your music. There is no flat 6 minor 7 chord in any modes that I ever use. So really we need to think of that F sharp minor 7 as a color chord. So if we listen to those opening 2 chords, the B flat, F sharp minor 7, you'll notice that they oscillate back and forth. The harmony is never actually moving forward. There is no progression. So if you can think of the F sharp minor 7 as color and as a decoration, you'll be able to move on from the fact that it doesn't quite fit a Roman numeral. The first time we actually get some functional harmony is in bar 5 with the C minor. And harmonically, the rest of the theme is actually really simple. We have 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 5, 1. About as straightforward a progression as we can get. The very traditional harmony in the last half, I think, contrasts well with the kind of bizarre color in the first half. It also gives the theme a very light and happy feeling for the second half, whereas the first is kind of chromatic and a little off. Something John Williams does really well is makes use of the bass as like a second melody. So what that means is that it's very contrapuntal. He's not just hammering down roots. It could work like this. But instead he writes a more interesting line. I think it's also worth pointing out the very strong cadence. John Williams is not shy about cadences, although a lot of students I've worked with are shy about them. They think that it makes their music feel predictable or too punctuated, but cadences are crucial for giving your music breath, for helping us understand the form, and for giving it overall shape. So if you listen to a lot of John Williams themes, you'll realize the cadences are usually solid and very clear, just like they are in this case. He does do one thing that's interesting though. He doesn't actually play the final note in the melody. We're expecting, but we don't get it. We just get it. The rest of the orchestra fills in that information for us, and I think our imagination knows what to expect, but it does leave kind of an interesting gap. So the last thing I want to talk about is the form. This is a great example of the sentence theme form. I need to make a video about the sentence form to be able to go into more detail. I'm going to do kind of a crash course on it right now. But basically the sentence starts with a 2-bar basic idea, which we can see here. That idea repeats either exactly or with some slight variations. And as we noticed already before, although we do get up to that B flat, we still come down to that D. So there's some variation, but there's not extreme growth. There's not new territory. Bars 3 and 4 are clearly related to bars 1 and 2. We haven't actually left the station and gone off onto something new. Something else that's important about those first 4 bars is keeping it harmonically stable. So that B flat, even though it oscillates to the F sharp, still feels like home. It's still holding us down. That's there. Even in the middle voices, it stays there as well. Now it's not as dissonant on the strings, but it does serve as a pedal point. So bars 1 through 4, that B flat is just holding you there. You cannot leave. We're staying stable. It's not until bar 5, which is what's called the continuation, that we actually move. And so the melody for the first time shifts down a step. The harmony for the first time moves to a new function. It goes from tonic to subdominant. We're now on a 2 chord. And we actually have some harmonic motion. We have a progression that's 2, 3, 4, that leads to the cadence. The continuation is where things start to happen. Usually there's more of something. It might be more chords per beat, a busier rhythm. In this case, and in a lot of John Williams themes, it's what used to be 2 bars of information now gets said in 1 bar. So if we look at bars 1 and 2, 4 quarter notes, a rest. Now bars 5 and 6 are full of information. There's a faster pace of content. Bars 7 and 8 are the cadence. We looked at how the harmony is pretty traditional, and bars 5 and 6, the continuation, really led us from where we were starting, where we were stable, kind of rolled down the hill into the cadence, and everything tied up neatly. So the overall structure of a sentence is 2-bar basic idea. Repeat that idea with some variation is okay. Then the continuation where things move, and finally a cadence. This theme is a great example of all of those different parts. All right, let's listen to it one more time. Think about what we've talked about with the motives, with the harmony, with the form. And if you notice anything that I didn't bring up, please leave a comment. I'd love to know. Also, if there are any other themes or melodies you want me to analyze or to take a deeper look into, please let me know in the comments. Thanks a lot.